1, WUDR, student-run radio at the University of Dayton.
Hi, this is Nicholas Johnson. You're listening to Your Tuesday Afternoon Alternative with Dr. J.
So are there any questions or concerns that you have?
Is this playing on the radio?
Yeah, right now.
Cool.
You went live right now.
Cool.
We are live on Facebook. There's a
Oh.
video being
Oh,
made
awesome.
over here.
Yeah.
So I do it through my personal Facebook page.
Okay.
To be entirely honest, that it just, for one, we're connected that way, so it's easy for you to grab it later,
Okay.
or for you to just make an easy, share or connection with it.
Cool.
I should be able to grab the video from Facebook, and then this video I will send to you. I do occasionally take pictures.
Cool. Yeah. It's all great.
Pull out my phone, which is one of the reasons why I always charge it up before we start.
There you go. It's a pro. You're a pro.
I don't know about that. I always say I know enough to be dangerous. And so the one thing that I always recommend is make sure you mute or put your phone on vibrate.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Cool.
But so I'm obviously gotten a few comments from people about you. So some folks who said they've seen you out,
Cool.
and they really enjoyed your music. So I've got a couple of questions that are not on the sheet
Okay.
that they sent to me. But this is just really meant to just give some bullet points that's part of the conversation. It obviously doesn't have to be, everything we do or everything we talk about.
Okay.
I always encourage people, feel free to ad lib and
Okay.
add. Right? The worst interview is one where you go, yes.
Right.
And that's all. that might make for an awkward hour.
Yeah.
But and I do always like to apologize because I'm probably an overly enthusiastic person.
It's all good. It's great.
And so it's like, the students will tell me sometimes, because I can control how fast I talk when I'm paying attention. And they'll be like, "You're on about an 8. Take it down to a 6." I'm like, "Okay, I can do that."
I will not do that. Whatever number you want to pick is great.
Well,
I'll try
I mean,
to keep up.
an 8 would be a little fast. For the radio. So you're good to jump in here in about 50 seconds?
Yes.
So you're on mic 1. There's a knob down there to control how loud your headphones are. I tend to turn it up here,
Okay.
so it's relatively loud,
Okay.
and then you can control modify it from
Great.
there.
Great.
So anything else? I mean, obviously feel free to drink or anything like that. The cough button is for exactly what you think it's for.
That's cool. I've never seen
it
that.
mutes your microphone, but it doesn't mute mine.
Okay.
But it's not a big deal. I would rather that you're comfortable.
Okay.
I can get out of the shot.
No,
or in
it's
the
all
shot,
good. I just wanted to get a
depending
clip
on what
of it on the radio. That's awesome.
you want. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
I should have asked
Here
for
we
your
go.
permission.
You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR, Dayton, Ohio. It's radio from the University of Dayton. We are rocking the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. I'm Dr. J. I'm your host, and I'd like to say musical interior designer. I know I didn't like it either. For the next 3 hours, I am joined here in the studio by Cory Breth, and you just heard a terrific song from him, from his new Christmas album, I Love Spending Christmas With You. Cory, thanks for being here.
Dr. J, it's great to be with you.
I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, I'm overwhelmed that you said yes. I'm so glad that you said yes, and I'm just thrilled to be here.
So, a Christmas record.
Yes.
What led to making this particular record? Because you've made several before this, but it's your first holiday record.
Right. Well, I had actually made a Christmas record about 10 years ago with a good friend named Cory Hall from my hometown, Chillicothe, Ohio. And when we recorded the vocals, I was actually sick, and we put it out anyway. And then I was like, man, I really don't want this to be out. So we ended up taking it down, and it's been this kind of dark cloud over me for the last 10 years. But the real reason is I love Christmas music, and I love sharing in the joy of music. So really since a young age, I've just always gravitated towards Christmas music, and I remember some of my fondest memories of my childhood were around the Christmas it's around the Christmas season, and I loved learning new songs and singing in Christmas concerts and at nursing homes with the youth group, and whatever it was, I just always love sharing in the joy of music, and for me, Christmas music is joyful.
So did you re-record those songs?
Okay, so
or are these
no?
new
These are
songs?
these are new songs.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we kind of started from scratch, but I've been asked because I play a lot of holiday parties and holiday events around Christmas time, and just for years, ever since we took that down, people have asked me, "Do you have any Christmas music? Do is there something we could listen to?" And I'm just like, "No, not yet." And this year, it felt right to be 10 years later, but we just kind of started from scratch. Yeah.
So walk me through recording the record.
Okay.
Did it change, being a holiday record, being a Christmas record, did that lead to different production choices or studio choices?
It did. This was very different and not very conventional or traditional in any sense of those words. Basically, I wrote I Love Spending Christmas With You that just played. I wrote that in April of this year, and that started the ball rolling, and it was like, man, I think this song could be something. This should be kind of the driving song behind the whole project. And then I released a record in 2020 called Wide Awake, and someone who played guitar on that, named Wade Winrick, he played guitar on one of the songs. I knew he produced different things, and I've been kind of following the projects that he has worked on the last couple years, and I really wanted to work with him based on the things that I've heard. And so I reached out to him, and we started recording in July, the end of July. He actually drove from Nashville up to Tip City, where I'm based, and we did 3 days of tracking my vocals and acoustic guitar and piano, and that's really where it started. And then I want to say, really, the next, from from July to October, he would send me drafts of the songs.
Yeah.
He was actually doing an arena tour with an artist named Micah Tyler, and basically he would. I wouldn't hear from him for a few days, and then I would get a draft of a song when he was not on the road, and I would give him some thoughts or notes or, sounds amazing, just encouragement, and then he would kick back another draft. And so it kind of, I was a little bit hands off with this one, mainly because I really wanted to work with Wade, but he made it happen as well. I'm trying to spend more time at home, so this was a perfect way to work with someone who's amazingly talented, and then also not be away for weeks at a time. So it just really worked out this way. So
I think that's interesting. So you're writing a Christmas song in April.
Yeah, it was.
Does that
bizarre.
feel weird?
It was. Yes, definitely. I had to kind of simulate a Christmassy mood and vibe and all that in my brain. It's so hard to just sit down and write Christmas lines when it's April and it's 60 and raining. So I really did simulate that. I would put on like a Yule log type thing with no words, and I'd close my eyes, and I'd when we recorded, I even put Christmas sweaters on. You have to really go all in.
So you're into the method acting.
That's right. Yeah. For this anyway, that's for sure.
Well, I'm also curious, if someone doesn't know you, can we hear your elevator pitch? This is Cory Breth, the musician, and how he started.
Sure. I remember. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I've always loved music, and I remember singing in really kindergarten. My kindergarten teacher had an upright piano in her room. Yes, and we would do like 3 songs a day, and I remember always loving those those times and learning songs at an early age, and that grew into wanting to sing karaoke, and I wanted to be a Backstreet Boy for a while, and then that grew into like, okay, I'm gonna start performing, and then it was like singing to tracks. I want to learn how to play an instrument, kind of that whole deal. And then I started learning guitar in middle school, and then it really took off in high school as far as my love for playing. And then I did some like home recordings in my junior year of high school back in 2007, and then I went to college, and it kind of really started at college.
Yeah.
wanting to play for people and wanting to learn new songs. And I went to Bowling Green, and I just remember, people would come into my dorm and be like, hey, what's the new song you're learning now? Or, you need to learn this one. And I would play in the lounges, kind of in the dorms and that sort of thing, in the dorm lounges. And that really ignited like the playing live in me, playing out and sharing music that way. And then in 2010, I met Cory Hall, who I mentioned. And he it all started with a Christmas project. I was asked to be a part of a Christmas charity album, and I didn't have any way to record it other than my home recordings that were awful. So I went to Cory because I knew that he recorded music, and we did this song, and then he asked me, what do you want to do with your music? So this is like January of 2011, I believe. And this was kind of like the defining moment. I'm like, I want to be a recording artist. I want to write songs. I want to share those songs with people. And he really started me out as far as that goes. We played 16 shows together that year. And we put an EP out, and we actually took that down as well. So I have music that's out, that's not out, So sometimes I play it out, but it's not released anymore. We took it down. But he really got me started with recording. And, I just have always loved sharing in the joy of music in any sense of that. And any platform for 3 people, for 300 people, whatever it is. I've just always loved getting in the room and being able to share my song. And that's developed over the years into, really being careful with my lyrics and what I want to say and how I want to use my songs instead of just singing them because I like to sing them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I don't know if that's the elevator pitch, but.
Well, that works for me. And so then you get into a few records. So if we count the current Christmas record, and maybe there's some things that, as you say, aren't widely available.
Right.
How many records have you put out?
Yeah, so I have 3 full-length records, and then a live album that I released this fall. So I put out a lot of music.
That's a fair amount in a short period of time.
Yeah. It's been a lot of releases. So that was one hesitation with this Christmas project. It's like, man, I did a lot of releases in the last.
I just put out a record.
Yeah, I just put out a record in 2020, but it happened quickly, and we love it, so we put it out. But I just and then I also have a bunch of EPs. I have seasonal EPs. I did autumn, spring, winter, summer EPs a handful of years ago, and let's see. I didn't think about this. I think that's pretty much it.
That's fairly productive when you think about the timeline of having the quote unquote day job or whatever we want to call it,
Sure.
and a family and all the other obligations that we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's still fairly productive, I think.
It's been a lot of time, and I've had a ton of people help me along the way. It's not just some artists do it all themselves and produce and have their home studio, and I've had tons of help and tons of friends on it. I mean, on this project alone, there's like 20 people that were on it, that sang, played, and were part of it. And I've actually crowdfunded. I crowdfunded Wide Awake, last year's record. And so there were like 70 some donors for that. Like, I've just had so much help.
That's terrific.
So, it's been a lot of time. It's been productive, like you said, but it's also, I haven't done it alone for sure.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're here in the studio with Cory Breth. He has a terrific new Christmas record. I can honestly say I've been listening to it in my office today.
That's awesome.
And I really, really enjoyed it. I especially want to talk about Dreaming. We definitely got to talk about Dreaming before our hour is up, because it goes just so fast, right? Mm-hmm. But we should play a few songs so people can hear them. You've got a few classic covers in there, right? And one of those classic covers, you've got Let It Snow, you've got White Christmas, right? Kind of these classic holiday tunes, classic holiday songs. What's compelling about re-recording that, right? Like, you think about, there are hundreds of covers of White Christmas. There are thousands of covers, probably of both those songs, Let It Snow, White Christmas. What is it that appealed to you?
That's a great question. They're so classic. I mean, they've just been so a part of my life during this time of the year, every year. And I don't. It's bizarre that you never get tired of hearing those songs. To me, I never get. I could listen to "Let It Snow" over and over and over again by whoever it is. It's such a classic. It just puts you in that like Christmas mood. It's just. I have a good friend of mine named Luke Zirkle, and he listens to Christmas music all year round. I'm not quite there, but I don't know. There's just something about that. It just feels warm. These songs feel warm, and I think that's why they're so classic and timeless. And that was one of the reasons, or that was kind of one of the driving words behind this project was we wanted to make versions of these songs that were timeless, which is really, really hard to do.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
But I just, I didn't really necessarily think about how there are thousands of versions of these songs. I just was excited to put my own spin on them, I guess. And I've played covers for a long time, and I'm trying to quit, which is funny.
Quit playing covers?
Yeah, quit playing covers out, but I just released 4 covers the first time ever. But, you know, for me, it's like I really want to share the songs that I've written and worked on and labored over. But then I end up going out places and people are like, do you play this or that artist or this song? I want to hear your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air cover. And it's like, I think, you know, the covers have really built my confidence, and I've played hours and hours and hours of covers at cover gigs and that sort of thing. But, and I love playing other people's songs, but I'm really trying to work on playing my songs out.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm kind of going on a tangent there, but...
Oh, no. I mean, there's something to be said for, you know, I mean, I could be real pedantic about it and call it comfort food, right? Something that feels good, feels like home, feels, you know, safe and warm and comfortable. There's no shame in that.
Yeah. And I think to your point, it's, you know, a lot of my songs are kind of heavy. I've dealt with some heaviness in my life, like most of us have, and you know, a first-time listener will put on a song called "Morning Dove," for example, and be like, "Man, this is really sad," and it's like, well, you know, it's not meant to be sad. I was sad when I wrote it, and I'm writing it for sad people and for myself, and like I'm writing it for these things, but the idea is to be encouraging, and so that's kind of one of the parts that I missed when you asked about the elevator pitch or whatever. It's like, what am I doing with my music? My main mission statement is, you know, to inspire, encourage, and challenge listeners. And so for me, you know, this project, I hope it does just that, because usually I'm kind of wrestling with something heavy, like a song like Morning Dove is pretty heavy. And so this project, it was intentionally light.
Yeah.
And I hope that it comes off that way, bright and light and warm, like you're saying, you know.
Well,
food.
let's play an example of that.
Sure.
This is Cory's interpretation of "Let It Snow" from his terrific "I Love Spending Christmas with You" record. He's all over social media if you wanted to reach out to him. It's Cory Breth, Breth, on Twitter. Of course, there's a YouTube channel you can look up by his name. He's got a website, CoryBrethOfficial.com. He's got a link tree. You can find all these connections to him right there. You're a good interview.
I don't know.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Quite a bit there. Sorry.
Take the compliment.
Thank you.
So, play this, run into like an ID, and then play Silver Bells, and then come back and talk some more. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So trying to break it up so we're not trying to keep us to like 10 to 15 minute segments.
Yeah, that's great.
But no, you're doing great. We've already killed a bunch of those coin kills. That's so violent. We've already worked through.
Sure.
But no, you're doing great. And you know the thing about the conversational approach that we try to have in here is like we don't have an agenda. Right? Whatever you want to talk about is what I want to talk about. Cool. So
yeah,
I never come into this and say like I must learn about the mind of the musician. Right. My eyes should get crazier and crazier as I say that. But you know, I just want to have a conversation. You know, that's more just us sharing ideas, and then I find that gives people. Anybody, given whatever perspective they have, something to hang their hat on. You know what I mean? Something they can connect to.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That's great. You asked great questions.
Well, I don't know about that.
And you-
They were questions. I can't lie. They were questions.
That's funny.
But you're very kind to do this.
No,
it is our mission at this show is to bring music that people wouldn't maybe otherwise hear
Yeah.
or wouldn't be exposed to, because part of that is that the industry itself is challenging.
Right.
But the other half of that is just that there's so much out there. It's easy to overlook stuff.
Yes.
Just even the most well-intentioned person may
Yeah.
not see or find something that's really awesome that speaks to them.
Right.
So, so that's my fear of missing out being translated to other people.
No, it's great. I'm very grateful that you are trying to punch through the noise. I agree. I love that.
Rad. Looking forward to what's to come.
Okay, that transition was okay. That's something DJ spent a lot of time thinking about, getting that right flow in and out of things.
I love that you're playing them in order. That's cool.
I played around with it in my office, and I just thought, I think the order actually works, and 99% of the time, the artists have spent a lot more time thinking about the order than I have.
Yeah. Sure.
Why would I not use that expertise?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But of course, then there are times where folks are like, oh, well, we'll do this in this order, and it's sort of like my response is not to be argumentative. It's like, you've probably thought about that more than I have.
Yeah.
So of course I'll do that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
I've heard of folks in different programs are like, no, I want to hear it in this order. It's like, man, the show's not about you. It's about your guest.
Right.
TV shows in particular, it seems like so much of that's personality driven.
Yes. Yeah.
But some people have asked me from time to time on the show, like, gee, you seem this and this way on the radio show. Is that who you really are? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that question.
Yeah.
But no, I do know there's a lot of other things you could be doing with your time, so I appreciate your willingness to come in.
This is great. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're always welcome. This last, nearly 2 years now, more than a year and a half, has been such a challenge.
Yeah.
The station had to be closed for a period of time because the university was, kind of closed to on-campus things. And so I feel like we're just getting back to having guests and doing these sorts of call-ins and things like that.
Yeah.
Then we kind of got away from that because of the pandemic. And, now I'm, fortunately, thank you. There are a whole host of other challenges that people are dealing with, and I can't complain because my challenges are so small compared to what other people have had to deal with.
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are back rolling.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, I missed it so much. It's kind of funny how, a Tuesday would come along and I would just feel like, this feels wrong. I should be making radio.
Right.
Dreaming has got to be my favorite from the record.
That's cool. It seems to be resonating with a lot of people, which is funny because it was just going to be the outro to White Christmas. It wasn't going to be.
Oh yeah, and it was listed as outro initially. I saw on the file. I'm like, oh no, this is more. This is better than that. I think it stands well on its own.
Cool. That's great.
Going in about 12. Mics are hot. Oh, that's just lovely. So here's where you have to tell me, Cory, that you got that in one take.
Right.
Yeah. As if that's how that works. No, of course, so much more time and energy goes into that. And I think your vocals are incredibly strong on the record.
Thank you so much.
Did you, and I think consistently throughout your records that I was listening to for the last couple of weeks now, and how did I not know about you is something I will have to answer for myself. But I definitely think you have a really great tone to your voice.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, when it came to recording Christmas songs, did you think about your voice in a different way?
I think so. Yeah, we did a lot of, you said the one take joke, but we did a lot of one takes all the way through. We didn't go line by line, so we did 4 or 5 all the way through, and then we picked favorite lines from there.
Sure.
But we didn't record them line by line. But I think I wanted to pick songs that were kind of right in my wheelhouse and range, and we kind of picked the keys around my voice. So that's maybe why it feels that way. We intentionally, because I've picked, or written songs, I should say, I've written songs that are kind of too high for me to really perform outside of my register. And so this was intentionally like, okay, I need to pick these songs kind of right in my sweet spot. So they were, not easier to sing because of that, but I think maybe that's why they feel so comfortable.
Oh, I can see that. I can totally see that. So you're putting a lot of intentionality to songs that fit,
Yes.
as opposed to changing something about yourself, right? I think that's really clever, and I think it shows. At least, now I've listened to the album a couple of dozen times now, so and I really think that you capture that spirit of home and hearth and comfort and love,
That's
right?
great.
That is, I think, a hallmark of, regardless of the genre, right? I even love like the Ramones Christmas song, and,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
but you take a song like Silver Bells, it can really easily feel, and forgive me for being unkind to any musicians out there, it can feel schmaltzy, right? It can feel a little over the top, whereas I think your delivery and your arrangement of the song gives it space to breathe.
Cool. That's great. That's great.
And I'm just wondering, like, was that something that just came about organically, or were you recording, your approach to recording, did it take that in mind? You know what I mean?
I think we really wanted to. I had made these acoustic demos to send Wade pretty early on in the project, and he was like, "Man, I really don't want to change too much of these. Like, just an acoustic phone demo with, like on voice memos on my iPhone. Like, he was like, I just love how simple and kind of homey they feel, and they're just right. And so I think we kind of tried to build. I'm not saying that I just take these amazing acoustic demos on my phone and let's put these out. I think I just mean keeping them simple and not trying to add too many elements that take away from the heart of the song and kind of that feel, the homey feel that you described. I think we just wanted to add to that. And so we did a lot of like, is this part necessary, or like should we go this direction with it, or I think we were more looking to be more minimalist with it, and I think that really comes through. But again, Wade did a lot of the production, and he would send me something and he'd be like, it needs mixed, and I'm like, this is so amazing. All the parts that you did on this are amazing, and all the musicians, the musicians and singers that sang on this, it's an embarrassment of talent. I mean, just the amount of people that were part of this project is ridiculous. And I haven't even met most of them, I'll be honest. I have not even met.
Really?
Yeah, we did a lot of the remote things. So
well, these days, so many projects have to be done that way.
Yeah. So I have to give most credit to Wade for really the direction and the sweetness of the songs, man.
So a song like Silver Bells, Let It Snow, right? They also have a fun element to them.
Yeah.
And I love Spending Christmas with You. It seems like the song, the album, maybe all the songs, right? There's this underlying element of connection, right? Social bond, or not just exclusively in terms of family, right? But however connection might mean something to someone.
Right.
Am I picking up something that you're like, dude, that is so not there?
No, it's right there. I think that was one of the main reasons of writing that song was, the idea that we have all these fun things to do, like you're mentioning, all this the Christmas season, but it's not necessarily about the things that we get to do. It's about who we get to spend it with, and that's kind of what the heart of that song is. It's really just about, it's not about like that we get to do these things. It's who we get to do it with, if that makes sense. And so, and that might not be family. That might be, and it might be by yourself. It might be whatever it is. I think that's what makes the season special, and for a lot of people, and for me, that's part of the reason for sure. So. I think I answered. I don't know if I answered that or not.
Very well, actually. Better than perhaps you thought you did. If you're just joining us, this is your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton. Rock in the Gem City, music in all directions, support your local music scene, which is exactly what we're doing right here with local musician. Although I don't mean local musician in the sense of, he's ours, but a musician who happens to call this area his home, right? Cory Breth. He's got a terrific collection of 6 Christmas songs that I think the world of. I've already added them. My wife and I both have holiday mixes on Spotify.
Cool. Awesome.
So I put a couple in there. I wonder if she's going to notice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wouldn't it be fun if she's like, oh, that's great. Wait, I picked it. No, you picked that? But it almost seems like the album, it starts and it ends with original Christmas songs that you wrote.
Yes.
And in between, you've got these cool covers.
Wow, yeah.
And so...
Glad you picked up on it.
Yeah, I was noticing that in again, earlier when I was listening to the record on repeat, which totally worked. It would create a real positive vibe. A couple of my colleagues said, like, I love your Christmas music. I'm like, I will make sure to get you some. But I thought that was interesting, right? So the album begins with an original composition, which the album's titled after, and then a few covers, classics, and then it ends with Dreaming, which is, I have to say, my personal favorite on the record.
That's amazing.
Right? and it's really, really interesting because for me, I tend to like songs that are longer than that.
Yeah.
But it comes in at a really, could we say even svelte time, but yet you capture a lot of emotion in those, 2.5 minutes or so.
Wow. Yeah, that song, it's really funny that that's resonating with you, and it seems to be resonating with a lot of the listeners of the album. It seems to be getting shared a lot, and people are reaching out to me about that song. It's really funny because we wrote that part of that. So it's basically the second part of White Christmas. We wanted to have kind of an anthemic capturing what the record is about. Christmas Time with You is the last little bit on that. So it kind of bookends the whole project, like you just said. It starts and finishes with that, the idea of Christmas with someone else or Christmas with you. And we really wanted to kind of build on White Christmas. Yeah. And so for a long time it was going to be a part of White Christmas, but then we talked about maybe we need to split it and make it its own song. And so really that didn't happen until almost like the end of October. So
oh dear.
I started working on it in April, like I mentioned earlier, but it really didn't get all kind of tightened up and finished and masters and all that until November. So it was like right up to which is funny because most projects you can just push it back, but you cannot push back a Christmas album. You just have to, unless you did it the following Christmas, which we had talked about. But we did it, and it's out. And Dreaming is, it's the last song, like you said, and we just really wanted to kind of encapsulate what the whole project was about, and also kind of build this anthem after White Christmas. And so that was the goal.
Well, if somebody is enjoying hearing the music, right, listening to our show right now, enjoying hearing about the music, how can they get a copy?
Sure. Well, we don't have physical albums this time. We decided to go all digital, but it's on, basically, it should be on most platforms.
I know it's on Spotify, Bandcamp.
Oh yeah, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, all those places. It should be in all those places. And something that's coming up, which I'm excited to share with you, is we shot a 16-minute video. It's a one-take video.
Yeah.
And it's a Yule log with me in it. And I'm drinking coffee and I'm stuffing the stockings and I'm putting ornaments on the tree, and it's basically an album listening experience with me. And so it's going to be called I didn't plan on talking about this, but here we are. It's going to be called I Love Spending Christmas with Yule Log, an album streaming experience. So
I love it.
I'm really excited to share because really I'm all about records like we talked about. I have 3 full-length records and I just love listening to records all the way through, front to back. And that's how I think a lot of music should be digested. And we're living in the single and EP world, which is fine. But I just really gravitate towards full albums. And so this one is, 16 minutes. I've been calling it an album, but it's really technically an EP, but it's really meant to be consumed, digested, listened to, taken in, all together. So that's kind of why we wanted to do the Yule Log, so that listeners listen to it all the way through, all together.
That idea. It totally fits the feel that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Well, we should play some more.
Cool.
From the record. We've got a few songs. I am trying to twist Cory's arm to play for us acoustically, so maybe we could do a song or two when we come back after a few of these.
Yeah, sure.
You're listening to WUDR Dayton, rockin' the Gem City. I'm Dr. J. This is your Tuesday afternoon alternative. We come to you every Tuesday. Wow, for 17 years now. I don't feel old at all. For 17 years here on WUDR. Thank you to the University of Dayton. Thank you to WUDR. And thank you, dear listener, for allowing us to continue to make this program. Here it is, rocking around. Oh, I can't even say it. I'm getting so excited here. Rocking around the Christmas tree. This is Cory Breth here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative.
Rocking around the Christmas tree, folk style.
Yeah. It's not
Folk
not going to
around.
feel like Brenda Lee.
right, exactly.
Which is no shame.
Yeah. You mind if I
It's a
use the
classic.
restroom?
Oh, not at all.
I hate to-
You do need to.
Okay.
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You need to put your mask on, though, I'm
Okay.
afraid.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just going to go out into the hallway, hook a left in any
Okay.
of those restrooms over there.
Okay.
You're totally fine to use.
Hook a left. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You got a great radio voice, by the way.
Oh, you were too kind.